Smeds here. How you guys doing? Good. Glad to hear it. Hey, listen, if you'd like, can't force anything on you guys. You're way too smart. But here we go. Excuse me, I'm gonna itch my nose. All right, here we go. What is with beating your kids? They are the only ones in this society where it's legal to beat them, and yet they are the most defenseless members of this society. I mean, that's not to say you shouldn't, you know, you should beat your wife but not your kids, or your husband but not your kids. You know, why beat anybody, let alone kids? You know what that does to someone when they're beaten by an older person that the little person looks up to? Physical punishment. You know how much disrespect they have for that? And yet the beater says, oh, that's, my dad did it to me and I really respected him. Well, your dad was an idiot. And if you're doing that to your kid, you're twice the idiot. Because you're perpetuating the violence that was perpetuated on you. You're continuing that. You're continuing the psychological damage. You're damaged goods in that respect. In the overall respect, no, you're fine. The creator created you well. But beating kids, you know what violence is? It's the last resort of a conversation. And yet that's the first thing we all jump to. We all jump to the violence. How many fucking cop shows are there on TV? It's probably 50%, 60% stupid ass cop shows. No plots. But what's 15 to 20 to 30% of the visuals you see is these fucking people walking into buildings, into your own home, into somewhere where their guns drawn. NYPD, LAPD. We're here because we know what's right and you don't. Our guns are drawn. What happened to negotiation? What happened to discussion? What happened to even debate? What happened to dignity and respect of another human being? I mean, citizens are getting shot in our streets, many of them unarmed. Old ladies are getting beaten the crap out of by the California Highway Patrol. What the fuck is that all about? Okay, so now we have the National Fuck You League. It used to be the National Football League, and now it's and then it was the National Family Violence League. But now it's the National Fuck You League. We don't care. You're stupid. We're smart. We sell a product of violence. We don't care what you think. There are players in the league that are beating their kids, their wives, their girlfriends, and everybody's up in arms. Oh, man, we shouldn't have this around. But they're letting these guys play. And this idiot, Adrian Peterson, had beat his one child that the boyfriend of the child's mother eventually went to jail for killing that one child. And Adrian is now under indictment for beating another one of his child. He said, well, my dad did that to me, so it's all right. I'm not a child to be. He did it with a fucking stick, folks. Gashes in his back, his butt, his legs, and his hands, his face, his nuts. You're fucking nuts if you're saying, well, my dad did that to me, so it's all right for me to. Adrian, your dad spent half his life in jail. And he did that to you, so that's your role model? Well, unfortunately, it was your role model, so you feel like it's all right to do it to you. And Tony Dungy comes out and says, well, I was brought up that way, so it's got to be cool. No, it isn't, Tony. You're a fucking idiot. And if you're brought up that way, that's why you're an idiot. And Charles Barkley, I used to love you. You're such a sarcastic, in-your-face guy. Oh, what's the matter with that? Beating a kid. It's good for the kid. And people like Adrian and Dungy and all these people, well, It made me a better person. Okay. Are you a better person, really? What kind of person would you have been if your parents didn't beat you or your father didn't beat you? What kind of person would you have been? You don't know. You could have been infinitely better than the better person you think you are now. You haven't tried that. We haven't tried that. But it's legal in many states. Hopefully, it's becoming illegal to beat a defenseless kid. It's illegal to beat your wife, but it's legal to beat a defenseless kid. You have got to be fucking kidding me. And then the defendants of that say, well, it's in the good book. It says so in the good book. What kind of fucking good book says beat your kids? Yeah, you'll say it's the Bible. Well, you know what? Whatever happened to your own discretion? Whatever happened to your own common sense? Whatever happened to say, there's a lot in this Bible that I don't agree with. Do I have to agree with it? You don't have to agree with anything but your own self-dignity and common sense. And when a person does that, yes, that's when a person starts to become a person. Whoop! A being. A human being. Human. Hu means full, total, complete. Human being. Not a big gorky football player that takes a switch to a 4-year-old kid. Oh, my dad did it to me. My dad spent his life in jail. But it's cool. I'm a better person for it. Well, you may be a good guy to some degrees, but not when you beat a kid. What would happen, Adrian, if you weren't beaten? Think of what a better person you'd be. Yes, you haven't tried that. You don't know that. So think what your kids can become. They have the advantages, at least financially, that you didn't have growing up. But you're going to trap them in this violence thing? They're going to beat their kids, and they're going to beat their kids' kids, and their kids' kids. And they may beat their wives, because that's the way it was done. And that's the way it's always done, and it says so in the good book. So you all screw yourselves. You know what? Roger Goodell, you didn't beat your kid. I don't know if you even have kids. They probably left home early to get away from you. Tony Dungy, I'm sorry about your son, but, it's enough of this bullshit. It's enough. It's violence. It's violence. Violence is the last resort. Communication is wonderful. You can give and take in communication. You can have a discussion, maybe even a debate. But when you start off a discussion with violence, that's when you've lost control. Violence is a result of losing control. So what does a kid see when their parent beats them? Their parents have lost control. They have no control. They have no dignity for themselves and no control over the situation. It's frustration to beat someone. It's frustration to retaliate with violence. It's all right to do it to kids. They're defenseless. It's not all right to do it to your wife if there's a video camera around. Everybody will get up in arms with that one. Okay. Glad we had this talk. Later.